people didn't really want to mess with like 805 radio. They thought it was cooler to mess with like LA or go to LA nightclubs and do all that stuff. But, you know, to me, it's like, why aren't you proud of where you're from? You know what I mean? So I kind of looked at that and I was like, you know what? I'm going to take advantage of this and really like look out for people who are proud to be from the 805.
Nice. I like that. What is up, Voice Community? It's your host, Charles Sabiago. We're back with another episode here. And if you know me, you know that I am originally from the 805, and the 805 is my home. So with this episode, I'm actually excited to have somebody in here in this episode. We had him a couple weeks ago with another guest, but this time we get to turn the favors and focus the spotlight on him. And for the past 25 years, I believe he's made his career focusing on others. So this time we get to put the spotlight on him. So welcome to the episode, DJ Mambo. How are you doing today?
Hey man, thanks for having me. And it's a trip being on the other side of someone interviewing me.
I imagine, because like, you know, like me being behind the camera, when I get asked to do stuff as well, I'm like, let me try to play it off casually, you know?
I think this is like the second or third official like sit down interview with somebody.
Really? Where else have you done it? Just out of
Pep podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I did his podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was the first one, and then I did one in LA. Kind of like when podcasts first took off.
Yeah.
It was more like a internet radio station thing.
Okay.
And I did that, and then now this. Okay. So yeah.
I definitely think you deserve a spotlight because you've focused a lot on the community in the past year of your career, you know. So I'm super excited to actually dive deeper into that and get to know a little bit about you. So for all of our listeners, especially in the 805, you know, a lot of people here know you and have a lot of good things to say about you.
All right. I hope so.
If they don't, well, you're not part of the community.
It's all good, man. That's what makes somebody, bro.
Absolutely. And I love that about you, man. So for anybody who doesn't know you, let's get a little background about who you are. I'll start off, but basically, DJ Mambo, he's with Q95.9.
Yeah.
Right? I remember you from Q104.7.
That's where it started, yeah.
I had WizKid in here a while back, and we talked a little bit about it, so it was cool. So now we get to turn the tables on you. So give us a little background.
So I grew up in Santa Paula. Never thought I would get into radio as a career. My focus was more on the DJing side. I was into house music a lot. And that's kind of what opened the door to get into radio in like mid 90s. And I started interning for Rico, which ended up being my sidekick for years. We started doing nights together. After that, he kind of quit because he got married, and then we ended up reuniting and started doing the morning show. And from there, you know, we started rocking mornings like I believe it was like late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
And then from there, you know, just kept on doing the radio thing.
That's cool. I mean, before you started radio, were you always into music and, you know, doing DJ before that? Or how'd you get involved with that?
Yeah, I mean, music has always been a part of everyone's life.
For
but,
sure.
You know, as far as like DJing, I got into it in the late 80s.
Yeah.
You know, neighbors used to have a DJ system. I've shared this story a couple of times. The first time I actually seen someone DJing was at a park. It was a family party, and they had a DJ, and I was that kid standing next to the DJ, bothering them like, what does this do? What does that do? So that's kind of how I got into it.
Okay. And then as far as like music, what's been like your biggest inspiration when it came down to, you know, getting involved with music?
Breakdancing music, bro. Like Africa Bambaataa, the more up tempo stuff.
Okay.
And that's kind of like what I always liked, the more up tempo stuff. But you know, being in the business, I kind of opened my mind to like other stuff. When it comes down to like hip hop, like NWA, Run DMC, like all that stuff was really the stuff I listened to.
Okay. Yeah, because I was going to say, growing up here, when I came from the Philippines, my inspiration for music was for sure hip hop.
Yeah.
You know, so when you say house music, I didn't even know about that until I started, you know, getting out of high school, you know? So then when you transitioned into radio, right? Like, or rather getting involved into it. Like, how did that come about? I mean, did you just like meet somebody, or like how did you even like get in part of a radio?
So we were doing a lot of like we would promote our own nights at clubs. They weren't even clubs; there were restaurants, and at night the manager would turn it into kind of a club. So we kind of like linked up with them, and we would make flyers, promote ourselves, and somehow someone that worked at the station had asked me if I was interested in DJing house music on one of the mix shows they had. And that's kind of the way I got into it. And at the time, they were just playing hip hop and R&B, and house music was kind of like growing in this area a lot. So we, they didn't have...
This area, San Paulo, or like the 805?
The 805, yeah. I mean, house music's been around, but, not on the radio.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I got to play, it was on a Saturday night at midnight. And I remember at first I didn't want to do it because I was like, man, I got to stop what I'm doing on a Saturday night just to go DJ for 1 hour. And I ended up doing it. And that's kind of how I met like Rico and, Armani. Armani's the one who got me into the station and introduced me to Rico. And then, that's how
it played out.
The radio career started. Okay. Yeah.
Cool. I mean, I think that's pretty cool that you've stayed with it, right? Was there? I mean, going into it, what was it that initially made you decide that this is something that you want to do for a while?
It didn't feel like a job. I've always been that dude that wanted something that didn't feel like a job.
Right.
So like I've always looked for the fun jobs. Yeah. So
yeah, that's cool because even for me, like I think what I'm doing now is something that I'm gonna be doing for a while.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel like a job.
Yeah. And sometimes it, for a long time, it didn't pay. And I didn't mind that because, I liked what I did. But at the same time, it's like, I figured out how to make money.
Right.
I didn't depend 100% on them giving me a paycheck. It was mostly me like, all right, I'm going to use the station to get into this nightclub, or I'm going to use the station to promote this. I always figured it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So when you started realizing you can make money doing DJing, right? How did that like career path look for you as far as progressing, getting into radio?
I don't think I started taking radio serious until I got fired.
Gotcha.
Because man, in radio, if you don't get fired, you're not doing radio.
Actually, Wizkid did mention that a while back too.
Yeah, and I got fired a couple of times actually.
Okay.
And it felt weird the first time I quit because I was so used to getting fired. You get fired, rehired.
I'm just curious how many times you get fired.
At this station, probably like 2 or 3 times.
2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I got to a point where I left. I went to go do radio up north for a while, and I was
like
doing
California.
In like the Fresno Visalia area, and that's where I kind of said, all right, like I need to take this serious because I seen some of the guys I used to look up to actually, buy homes, raise families, doing something fun. So
right. Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad that has progressed for you as far as a career wise. I think it's a good fit for you. I mean, you definitely have the voice. So then transitioning into it, you've been around the 805 spotlighting the community for 25 plus years, or maybe even more because you were doing DJ, right? What would you how would you say the 805 has changed from your experience, especially being in the radio industry?
It hasn't really changed. I think as far as like supporting each other, it has changed, but there was a lot of separation back when I started. So people didn't really want to mess with like 805 radio. They thought it was cooler to mess with like LA or go to LA nightclubs and do all that stuff. But, to me, it's like, why aren't you proud of where you're from? You know what I mean? So I kind of looked at that and I was like, you know what? I'm going to take advantage of this and really like look out for people who are proud to be from the 805.
Nice. I like that.
And now you look at everything, and everybody wants to either represent their city, represent the area, and to me that's what's different from back then.
Yeah, because I think a while back everybody wants that taste of fame, right? That taste of a lifestyle. But now, I mean, nowadays, yeah, you're right. There is a lot more people that are proud to represent where they're from, right? So growing up in here in Santa Paula, I mean, what was that like, just out of curiosity? And, you know, how do you feel that has influenced you to become the person you are today?
I mean, I look back at what I did, like, growing up, and it kind of makes sense. Like, I'm doing radio by myself now.
Right.
You know, I did it with Rico for so many years, but I guess I was a loner, like doing stuff that I wanted to do. And I mean, there's been situations that you learn from where, you know, someone leads you in the wrong direction, and you're like, oh, fuck that guy. Like, I'm going to do it my way.
Right.
And I guess it's always been like that to where I'm at now, where I'm doing a show by myself, and I've had to rebrand myself like numerous times, like throughout my career, which, you know, if you really think about like what I do, like a lot of people usually do it for like 5 years, and then they have to either move away somewhere and do it. But I've been blessed to do it where I grew up for my entire career.
2 questions following up with that. You know, I think one, for me, I can share the same thing. Like, I feel like I've been doing a lot of the things I've been doing the past 5 yees alone. I've just been kind of venturing with things that interested me, right? And I'm sure that's kind of like where it's led you. Does it ever get lonely for you, or has it ever felt lonely for you, like just trying to maneuver yourself toward your own sense of interest?
No, because I mean, at first, yes, I guess when I was younger, because, you know, when you're young, you want as many friends as you want.
Yeah. You want popularity.
But now you realize, like, I got to a point where, like, why are all these people, like, calling me for, like, to get on a guest list, to hook them up with tickets for something? And I realized that, you know, I have people I know, and then I have my circle of friends that, you know, who don't care about tickets, who don't care about what can I get them for free, versus like someone that I could just have a conversation with about real life shit. You know what I mean?
Honestly, that's one of the best things too. I mean, I think we will learn that through our relationships, realize who we want to keep in our lives.
Yeah.
Right? It's more than just, you know, what we have and who we have around us, but it's what we represent and how do they, you know, influence or be a part of that, right? So, you know, you mentioned when you fulfill that form out, you mentioned to you being real and honest for the youth was pretty important.
Very important, man. Yeah, just because, you know, sometimes as a kid, you look up to someone, and then once you become a young adult, you realize, oh, they're full of shit.
Yeah.
And you mentioned influence is important. Those people influenced me to follow the wrong road.
Oh, okay.
So I think, you know, like being real with the youngster and giving them the right tools and the right road to follow,
for sure,
versus like I could think of a couple of bad choices I made because of someone else I was listening to who I thought had their shit together. Yeah.
I mean, I've had a lot of those instances too. I've never chosen to burn those bridges.
Yeah.
But just curious, I mean, like what were those decisions, if you're able to even mention it? Or potential.
So when I first got into radio, I was 21, I think. And there was, you know, you go to conferences, you meet people from other radio stations, you know, bigger stations. And I remember, you know, one of the things is like they want young people. So people were approaching me, asking me, hey, would you want to come work over here? And I was new to the game, so I really didn't know, like to me, it was radio.
Yeah, right.
But you make more money if you get to like the bigger markets. And there was a situation where someone from a bigger market had approached me, and someone who I thought was my friend said, oh, you don't want to do that. But the reason they told me that was because they asked me and didn't ask him. And we were doing the same thing. But I didn't realize that until years later. And I was like, you know what? Like, it's not his bad. Like, and till this day, like, I still talk to the dude. But at the same time, it's like, that's why I can't depend on someone else to make choices for me. I got to make, you know.
You have to make decisions based on
for myself. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Do my own research, figure it out for myself. Like, not everyone's going to want the best for you.
Right. And is that in a way something that you take with you when talking to the youth and you know, when it comes down to trying to become an influence in them?
Yeah, because a lot of people, I mean, even like with school, like, you know, I know people who go to school for years, get a degree, and then they think that just because they're done with school and
that's it.
The chart said that they're supposed to make this amount of money, that's what's going to happen. And it doesn't work that way.
No.
Yeah.
No, I think degrees are just a way to indicate that you've finished, you know, education. But it doesn't mean that you're qualified to work for these companies or make a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, and in fact, if anything, I would argue that there's way more ways to make money without acquiring a degree, you know.
Yeah,
not to bash on people getting a degree.
No, I mean, I think
I got a degree myself.
I think education is important, but at the same time, like I always tell people, it's not for me because they always ask me, well, what type of school? What do you recommend?
Right.
And I tell them like, you need to figure it out. I can't tell you like what to do.
Where would you go? Just curious.
What do you mean?
Well, like, you know, school wise, or get an education for whatever career you want to do.
Where would I go? YouTube.
Smart guy.
I always try to figure it out for myself.
Right. Me nowadays, most of the stuff I learn is from YouTube or other courses. People who, you know, there's always gonna be people out there selling courses.
And here's the thing, I've always I'm never afraid to ask. If I know someone's doing something that I want to do, the worst they could say is no.
Okay.
Or they don't want to tell you.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Absolutely. I get that a lot from other people as well. I mean, you know, you miss 100% of the shots you don't make, right?
Yeah. So to me, it's like I'm always learning, and you know, whether it's like, you know, watching YouTube or if someone I look up to or a podcast I love to listen to, if they talk about a certain book,
right?
You know, I'm gonna purchase that book and make sure that I write to it instead of writing to, you know, music in the car.
What do you listen to as far as podcasts?
Podcasts, I listen to. I jump around a lot and I get a lot of recommendations from people. But who's the guy? He did like Ryan Garcia. He's like he's like an insurance guy. I forgot the name. He's always talking. I think he's from Iran, but he's
Patrick Bet David.
Yeah, he's one of them. Of course, Rogan.
Okay.
And then I like to support a lot of the local ones. And you know, if you go to my YouTube, there's a lot of unfinished ones that I start. But I like to just like explore and see what I find.
Nice. I hope I see one of mine out there.
No, I've checked out a couple of yours actually.
Thank you.
But it's always like the I don't want to call them mom and pop ones, but like the smaller ones where I actually like get something out of.
Yeah. And you learn a lot, just, you know, poking around a little bit and getting to know that, right?
Yeah, especially like if you have like right now, like there's a lot of comedians that are doing them, and to me it's like that's a form of more of entertainment. And to me it's like there's those certain ones where I want to learn something. I just don't want to be laughing all the time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's funny because when I got a hold of podcasts, I listened to them more for education, but now there are more entertainment.
Yeah.
You know, that's an interesting shift with the whole podcasting scene, right?
And it's entertainment, and I feel now like a lot of it's created behind the scenes. It's almost like pre-produced.
Yeah.
Especially like the stuff that I will watch for work for like music and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, these guys,
these guys
are yelling at each other, and they prepped it, and you know, because later on you'll see them taking a picture. Oh, good podcast, and I was like, if I got in an argument with someone like that, I would not be taking a picture next to him.
Well, I think you're in the radio scene for your end, you're used to live, right?
Yeah.
I gotta ask, like, with that comparison with something where you don't need, it's more live production versus post production. Like what's the like the biggest like difference that you see, that that's interesting to you?
I just like with podcasts. I like how the conversation could go anywhere. Radio is more like you got a couple minutes to talk about whatever it is that you're going to talk about, and a lot of people that have seen me do like show prep. A lot of the stuff I repeat a lot because not everyone's sitting there listening to the radio from 6 a.m. till 10 a.m. Like I know people have like a 20-minute drive, 10-minute drive. So I know every quarter hour there's a new audience.
Right, a new audience. That's interesting. That's interesting for us because I've been working in post production for 6-7 years now before I even started my agency. So I grew up when Facebook and Instagram, became a thing,
And you know what's a trip? It's like when one of our big features that we started was a dilemma of the day.
Yeah,
and that's actually recycle bit that we do from a newspaper from back in the day.
What's it called?
I believe it's called like Dear Abby or Ask Abby or something.
Okay.
And it's basically just the same shit as Dilemma. Like, someone sends in their problem and, the writer would give advice or whatever. And that's what I see with social media. It's just like recycled content. You just make it yours.
I think there is even now, I know Meta's trying to lean towards trying to give credits to the original creators, but for sure, me being in the industry, there is a lot of accounts that repurpose content for the purpose of just building whatever brand it is, so they can monetize it or do something with it. Which, I guess that's the main difference with something like radio. There's a sense of originality, right?
Yeah, and I think now where people are making millions off of social media trips me out because in radio, you don't see that unless you're in New York, LA, like that's where the money making guys are. But now there's a lot of people making a lot of money on social media.
Well, I mean, how do you see social media and radio integrating somehow together? Because I mean, you got this one channel which is a now thing, and it's what I call it. It's linear, meaning if you say something, everybody hears it one time, but it's also time sensitive. Compared to social media, a lot of content can have a longer lifespan, and you can manipulate it.
Yeah,
right?
our company's like behind with that. I mean, if it was up to me, I would have someone in there filming all my shows and kind of putting the
clips together,
the best stuff type stuff throughout the day, like reels or whatever it is. I use it good with Dilemma.
That's really good.
And there's a lot of people that comment. There's I seen the growth more like on Facebook with Dilemma. It's an older audience and it's people
they like it because they understand. They were in the radio times.
Yeah, and it's people from everywhere on Facebook because you get people from like the East Coast, the Midwest who are commenting and they just love to kill time on Facebook while they're at work. So that's their entertainment.
It gets me thinking too, because there are a lot of people out there that, because with radio, you can create some sort of exclusivity. Right? With social media, like once you put it out, almost everybody can see it.
Yeah.
As long as, you're not banned from, you don't violate the terms and agreements.
And see, that's another thing I don't like about social media. I just use it more for fun and as a tool to help out the show, to promote like giveaways that we're doing or promote the show when it starts or a segment that we're about to get into or when we're going to interview somebody. But I just don't like when they send you like, oh, you violated this for doing this. And I'm just like, all right, delete it and not worry about it. But other people take that shit serious like that's the end of their life. But I get it because that's the way they make their money.
Yeah, there's a rise of people now that are able to make a living purely off of social media. Like it's crazy, whether you're a business owner or a content creator, So let's pivot back into, your career in radio industry. Talk to us about like what does your day-to-day look like, like just working in Q 103 The Vibe.
So when I started at in radio first, we started as the night show. Well, I was an intern first, so I was there like 2 hours a day. Eventually, like Rico and I created the night show, and it was from 7 to midnight, I believe. But I was only on with him from 7 to 10. Then when we started doing mornings, that's when like we had the long days, like getting up at 4 a.m, making sure, and this is pre like social media and everything.
Right.
So everything we did, we had to go look for it. You know what I mean? Like what breaking news was there? Now it's so easy, bro. Like you just go to like Twitter or X now
You can
and
bring up anything
and just see what's trending.
Okay.
And you got to look for those stories that are popular. Back then you kind of had to like say like, all right, like we're playing this artist and they did this, so let's go look for this story. Where today it's a lot easier. I mean, it's still work, but it's not as easy.
back then.
Back then it wasn't easy. And it was mostly like getting up early to make sure you got all your content that you were going to use for your show.
Yeah, that's interesting because it's like live videos for other platforms. You have to think of a way to be engaging with them.
Yeah, and then now there's so many blogs out there that fit like to what we're doing. So there's numerous stories that we could use. Like before, we really had to dig and stick to those stories. And if we didn't use some of that stuff, we recycled it for the next day unless something better came up.
Right.
But now my days are like I get up at 4:20 and I'm going until like 9 p.m. sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So is there a process, or do you guys have like a weekly process of curating, coming up with ideas, or is there somebody else do that for you guys?
No, man,
It's all you?
Yeah, it's all me. Yeah, the only thing that I do is like if I see something that's trending, or even now with like social media, like if a reel or something's like something that I could use on the air as production, I'll send it to our production department and just try to get it right to use it as a sweeper. Like sometimes we'll spend a couple hours on something and it only plays one time.
Right.
So it's just creating like the pre-production stuff.
Yeah. Is there things you have to look out for? I mean, I because you mentioned, with social media, what sucks, that if you violate terms, like they can take it down, right? Based on anyone asking for it. Like for radio, like what are some processes to avoid, getting in trouble or anything?
I think it's more of the licensing stuff that we worry about as a radio station. But when it comes to like music and stuff that we take from songs, like, we already play the music,
right.
So it's just kind of like recreating it like to fit the show,
repurposing it somehow.
Yeah. But a lot of it, like with us, like it's crazy. I used AI for something a couple of weeks ago on social media, and I thought it was funny, but like they sent me an email. They sent me like, kind of like scolding you like a little kid. Like,
wait, what did you do?
I think I had got this AI app, and I put the Kendrick Lamar lyrics, and so it was like Trump saying Kendrick Lamar.
Really?
Yeah, and I posted that, and they like flagged me, and
what did they say?
It just says that you violated something.
But is it saying that it's the same music as Kendrick, or I'm just curious?
No, it was just the lyrics, and it was just Donald. It being said in Donald Trump, like.
That's
so
weird.
Yeah, so
what if I was singing that?
Yeah, so I that's why I really don't like really dig in. I mean, it's not, social media is not my moneymaker, so it's
That's
like whatever, like delete. I won't do it.
With the dilemma of the day, what would you say has been like, or if you can name like a top 2 or top 3 like dilemma of the days, like what has been the top for you?
Oh, the top?
Yeah.
Oh man. There's a couple of them. There's and they're gross, and that's why I think they stand out. One of them was when Rico was still doing radio with me. There was a dilemma where the girl took her man to San Diego to visit the in-laws, and they were all partying, and the girl's boyfriend ended up sleeping with the mom, with her mom, and it was just like a dilemma that
is a crazy dilemma
that went on. Like they kept hooking up after that one. It wasn't just a one-time thing. And then another one was now this one's gross.
I feel like I've heard this somewhere before.
So it was a guy, a couple that married, and they each had a kid, and so they were stepbrother and sister. And then as they grew older, they would go out. They were in the same age, and then eventually they would end up hooking up, like under the roof that they grew up in as brother and sister.
Or their step?
Yeah, they're step.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm just like, yo, these people are ruthless with these dilemmas.
No, I swear, I feel like I've heard this somewhere. Sorry before.
You probably watch too much Pornhub, bro.
Somebody.
Now, for the record, these dilemmas were before Pornhub. So.
Oh, okay. So maybe that's where they got their ideas from, right? All right. So it seems like the 805 seems to be a big part of you, right? Like what does the 805 mean to you? I mean, you have. Let's talk about your other brand, like 805 Spotlight.
Yeah.
Right. Is that part of the radio, or is that something that you created for your brand?
It's something I've been wanting to create for a long time, and we really didn't get the green light from the station because it's a radio station, it's a business. They want to make money,
absolutely,
from advertising and everything. So us doing the 805 Spotlight kind of took away from them being able to advertise, because we were highlighting someone who wasn't advertising or mostly like businesses.
Yeah.
But during the pandemic, a lot of businesses were struggling. So we kind of represented the idea. And that time, I would say that was probably the 100th time we had presented it. And all of a sudden during that period, it was a good idea.
Yeah.
So before they could change their mind, we kind of ran with it, and we started doing the Spotlight every day. And it kind of turned into like, adding events, adding artists,
nice,
giving local artists to, play their music and get their music heard on the radio. That kind of like blew into something else. And I just, we ended up keeping the 805 Spotlight.
Nice.
So now, like,
it's a win.
It's dope because it's just like networking on the radio. You know what I mean?
And I feel like especially building media and community, that it's always been about the community,
right?
It's like how can you give back to them? And I think for me, at least in my opinion, if I focus or if someone focused more on the community, I think in the long run that gives you back, and it gives back in tenfold.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people are still careful. Like, they think that I do it or invite them because I want something in return. And it's never been like that. So every time like we do something, like there's still people that like, am I going to have to pay? Am I going to have to do it? I was like, look, man, if you want to advertise, yes, but this is just a part of my show.
Right.
And it's a part of it's a feature that I do, and where I like to highlight like local businesses to our local audience. And some people do turn into advertisers. So you saying that, it's true. Like some of it does turn into business.
Because now they trust you even more. And even if whether it's something that they really need, they might just do it just because they like you.
Yeah. And some of it, you get the people who try to take advantage of you and do the.
How do you handle those?
I just kind of I'm honest with everyone, bro. Like if I know they're trying to get in every month, I'm like, come on, bro, like advertise by now. Like
let's collaborate.
If it's not working, you wouldn't want to come back, right?
Right.
So I always try to be fair with everyone.
Yeah, it's interesting for me because obviously I have a platform, right? Like I have a way for people to get involved and, put themselves out more. I always think, for me, like when I'm trying to collaborate with someone, I always try to think of like, how can I make sure that this other person or this other entity or organization also gets value from it.
Yeah, and I mean, 805 is a small community, and you kind of people talk. Like, you know, sometimes like I'll have someone on and there'll be someone that says, "Hey, be careful with them because this." But I'm the type of person that gives everyone a shot.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
And if they've never done me wrong or done whatever it is that this other person, like I want to experience that for myself. I'm not gonna be you know, take someone's word that I've never dealt with or anything like that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think everybody does deserve a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also do feel that sometimes people can become one-sided.
Yeah.
Lacking reciprocity.
It happens a lot, bro.
I imagine with your side, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think with me, it's like, and I deal with this with artists a lot, and I think more now because, you know, now you have social media, you have streaming platforms, you have YouTube. There's a lot of artists who, like, when you invite them, they're like cocky about like, oh, I don't need radio and I don't need this. But once they get to a certain situation where they're dealing with the record company and the record company wants to bring them in, they're a little like, I guess they don't want to see me because I'm like, I already invited you, bro. What are you doing here? You said you didn't need radio.
So they feel kind of their ego is humiliated kind of in a way, right?
I wouldn't say. I guess, you know, like if I do something wrong or I say the wrong thing and I was wrong, I've learned the best thing to do is to apologize and say you were wrong and then keep it moving.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like to do that. Like they can't swallow their pride and say they were wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it definitely has to do with ego a lot, for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You know, I still appreciate that, you know, regardless of whether, I'm sure, you know, they've said no, you're open to still having them on, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it comes down to the community.
Yeah, especially like, you know, I look at a young artist and you know, some of them didn't grow up listening to the radio.
Well, nowadays
like some of them just grew up on streaming or getting their music from playing video games. So it's a whole lot different than the way I grew up.
Okay, I gotta ask about that now, right? So you getting other artists on, do you come across people that have never heard radio, right? How does that, like, what's that interaction look like?
It's not so much that they haven't heard radio, because I think a lot of people,
Or they're not around it, yeah.
Like they it's not their first choice.
Gotcha.
And they don't really care about, you know, getting their song. Like they'd rather put it on a streaming platform versus like getting it on the radio.
I mean, why wouldn't want to leverage, you know, radio or other platforms?
And I think it's the information that they get fed from people.
Really?
You know what I mean? And that's why, like earlier I said, like, be careful, like who you listen to.
Gotcha.
Do your own research when it comes to like certain things.
Yeah, and the only reason I ask is because I'm curious. Like, if I was an artist, wherever opportunity I can put myself up, I would do it.
Yeah.
That's weird.
No, I mean, I've heard it all, bro. Like, yeah.
That's interesting. All right, so now coming back from when you started as a DJ, now becoming the DJ Mambo, right? Like, how would you say that your brand has shifted for you? Like what do you see that people see you as?
I mean, I just think they see me as the radio guy, but as far as shifting, like my main focus used to be DJing nightclubs, DJing, you know, events and stuff like that. I kind of got away from that and just focus on the radio stuff and hosting events and I guess focusing more on the community part of it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I trust me, like I still get hit up to do like certain things, but it's not my thing and I won't do it. Like nightclubs, for instance. Like you seen me at the Cinco de Mayo event.
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah, and once it turned like a certain time, I was like, all right, it's time for me to leave because I know what's gonna happen next.
Right. Oh, that night did get crazy after. So I'm glad that you.
See, and I wasn't there to experience. I wanted to be home and watch Dateline, bro. That's what I do.
Interesting. I do. Before I would say yes. Like I saw you as a celebrity. Like you represent the radio. That's a brand. Before I even knew what that meant. But now, like getting to know you a little more, I definitely see you as a guy who's in it for the community.
Well, I think that's what it's about, especially if you're the middleman for everything. I don't own the radio station.
Yeah.
I'm in a good position to either use that for myself and be selfish about it, or use it to really talk about stuff that's going on. Like I think right now there's too with social media, everyone has a voice. And everyone posts what's important to them.
Absolutely.
I try to just keep, and I wouldn't say play it safe, but like kind of get the stuff that we do all the time, like the fair stuff, like were
you at the Strawberry Festival recently?
Yeah, I went to the Strawberry Festival, and I try to do all that stuff too. Like if I'm talking about it, I wanna also participate.
Yeah.
I just don't want to talk about it and like, hey, where's Mambo at? So I want to participate in the stuff that I talk about. You want to be part of the community, right? You want to be part. And it's hard, bro. Like sometimes like I'll have a list of 8 things to do for the weekend, like 4 on Saturday and 4 on Sunday. And Saturday I'll do good, and Sunday I just might show up to one. But I try my best, just because Sunday I gotta make sure I'm prepping for Monday, because I got to be up early again and start my
busy guy.
My long days again.
Staying busy.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, actually, let me take this off real quick. I'm getting a little hot. What are you talking about?
What is that, bro?
Hey everyone, I'm very proud to represent our sponsor for this podcast. We're actually located here in Santa Paula inside A+ Branding. They're your one-stop shop for promotional supply products such as t-shirts, custom hats, custom apparels, you name it, they brand it. A+ Branding provides all your promotional needs. They also provide vinyl decals such as stickers. They even did this wall here for me to make sure that this room is branded properly, to make sure that the guests that do come here feels that experience. Make sure to go ahead and check out A+ Branding. You can check them out at their website, aplusbranding.com, and you can go ahead and request a quote from them. Now back to the show.
Is that looks like Nacho Libre, bro?
Is it?
Oh shit.
Oh man. It's getting hot in here, man.
Oh man.
Oh.
All right.
Oh god. You see my shirt?
Yeah, man.
Oh shit. I think I might have messed up the audio.
All right.
Okay. So
that's hilarious, bro.
Yeah, someone here at A+ Branding, it's the headphones, thought it was a funny idea to get one of your pictures and print it on this shirt.
You know what's funny is a lot of the marketing stuff that we do for the show. Little Wicked does an amazing job with all the graphics, and so a lot of the stuff that we used to do before was when we were doing Rico and Mambo, and one of the ones that always stood out, and they even did a shirt about it, was the Step Brothers one. I don't know if you ever seen that one.
Yeah.
But Rico and I had a shirt that was like the Step Brothers, but I think this one takes it, bro, for the rebrand, dog.
It was Alex here from A+ Branding. He thought about it. So actually, we have your we got something for you as well. So
that's super dope, dog.
But here's your order.
Oh damn!
So we had it all set up. And
all right. By the way, man, this is another project that I'm working on, that I tied into to the station.
Okay.
Which you said it earlier. Like I'm very proud to be from this area. So I don't know if you remember when the 805 beer first came out.
Yeah.
So when that came out, like, everyone around here wanted the beer, and like it was selling out at Costco and all this. So I remember going up north to visit my wife's family, and I seen 805 beer in Costco.
Right.
And I was like, shit, this is so dope. Like, I was so proud that they had it up there. So, once I came back, I was like, yo, like, I got to do something that represents this area that people could wear. You know what I mean? And I wanted it to be cool. So when we started doing 805 locals, I knew it was going to turn into a brand, like outside of radio.
Okay.
So I wanted it to turn into a clothing brand.
Okay.
And that's like the mission with this.
I like it. Okay, so then obviously it's gonna be more than just selling merch and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But like, let's expand on that idea then. Like, right, what is this idea that you're trying to do look like in the next couple of years? Or like, what are you trying to represent?
I just want to create a brand that the 805 is proud of. Okay. I'm proud of a lot of brands, especially the way I grew up when it comes to looking at the United Farm Workers logo, the eagle with the red shirt. Like I always like I get like happy because it reminds me of my grandpa. So seeing something like that, like I want to create something that when someone sees 805, whether they're in LA or somewhere, they're like, oh shit, 805. You know what I mean? Like, I just think that, everyone else has it in their city. Like, why can't we have it here?
No, I think there's especially it's a weird notion too, because like there's a lot of people who can misrepresent their area, especially in the 805, right? Yeah. But like if it's somebody famous, like, oh, they're proud to represent the 805, which to me is interesting.
And I think like Kyle, like he did a good job, like repping Ventura, even like with his merch. Right. And then Anderson .Paak did an amazing job when he dropped the albums like Oxnard, Ventura.
Right.
And I think people want to represent where they grew up or where they're from.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like I'm not trying to cater to someone in LA to buy this stuff or someone in
here.
Yeah, like I want it to be here. I mean, of course, people who grew up here.
Yeah.
I want them to this be their stuff that that they're proud to wear wherever they live now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you came to us for this. We're glad to make that for you.
Yeah, this is dope, man. I seen you guys post it, and I was like, oh shit! Like,
can you take one out so we can put on the camera here real quick, so you can take a look at it yourself too.
Yeah, and I've been like playing with like other stuff too, so I'm like very excited to like have these, man.
Nice.
So it just says the 805 classic logo.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah, so it's this is like my next project that I'm working on.
Cool. Awesome. So I do have a question that I skipped out on, and then this is something that you asked me, and you kind of mentioned about him already, right? When you started, it was Rico and Mambo,
right?
And then you told me this. A lot of people ask or want to know, but they never really ask. Where is Rico now?
So Rico left to Texas, and one day he decided to throw in the towel. And it was another moment where we've rebranded ourselves many times from moving stations and him quitting and wanting to get back in, and this time it was a little different because I knew when he was gonna throw in the towel, I was like, all right, this is it. Like now I got to focus on the Mambo brand and put the Rico and Mambo brand aside.
Right. It's interesting because I didn't really notice it until you actually there was a few people that mentioned to me when I was with you, or they saw me a picture with you. They did ask like, oh, where is Rico?
Yeah, and it was like a, I don't know, it was like a weird transition.
I didn't notice it.
Yeah, it was just weird. I mean, if you're there like every day, like you notice it.
Yeah.
But there comes a moment like where if you're listening to something and you're that name comes up or something comes up, people are like, oh yeah, what happened to so and so? And I mean, I still get asked a lot.
Right.
I still talk to him. But it's just like
that's good.
It's just like the Rico and Mambo part of it is in the past now.
it's in the memories now.
Yeah, pretty much. But
Yeah.
I mean, there's certain things that might make it work again, but for now, it's just it's Mambo on the radio now, and I believe it or not, I've rebranded myself a couple of times.
Yeah, how's that been like?
It's just hard, bro. Because I mean, when you don't have budgets for shit, it's hard. It's hard
Tell me
because
about
you put money into things out of your own pocket sometimes because it's at the end of the day, it's my brand. So if I don't brand myself right, the station's not gonna do it for me.
Right. And it would just come off like, different.
Yeah.
It wouldn't come off in the way where it represents you the best way.
Yeah, and when I first rebranded myself, it was Mambo in the morning because I was doing the morning, and then we ended up doing afternoons too. So Mambo in the morning on the afternoon wouldn't sound right.
Right.
So we kind of had to flip it and just say Mambo on the radio.
Okay.
That's so I kind of went with that, and that's what I'm pushing now.
You guys are pretty slick with that. I don't even notice it.
And 805 Locals, the reason I added that was because it's tough to find people who, like, I love doing this, and it's sometimes, I wouldn't say disappointing, but it sucks when someone wants to do it, but they're not 100% in.
Not in. Yep.
So the 805 Locals is supposed to be like, all right, who wants to be on the team now? You know what I mean? Like I know like certain people like don't like getting up early. Some people don't want to be in the same place for, 4 to 6 hours. And I know that the sidekick or the people that do the show with me, they're not going to be there forever.
Yeah.
So I wanted to create something that if you become a part of the show, it's like, all right, you're an 805 local now.
805 Locals.
So you're a part of the show now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is there a social media page or link that people can get to this now?
The 805 Locals, it's kind of ran like with the show, but
right now.
but eventually it's going to be like the clothing part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, but I have an 805 Spotlight one too, and that kind of focuses more on businesses.
That's right.
Yeah, that one right there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let me give that a follow.
Yeah, so it's just, I don't know. I guess right now, like I'm in the creating brand stage. Like
Yeah.
I'm still a part of a lot of like behind the scenes. I don't want to say silent partner, but more like I'm a part of it in a from a business point, but I don't like to say that
You
I own that or I'm
yeah.
a part of that. Like I'd rather just let them do their thing.
help build that
Yeah.
brand. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad that you're showcasing all this thing because I look forward to doing what I gotta do and going where I go and then
Yeah.
still say that hey, I'm part of the 805.
And I like where all this is going. I mean, even you and I have talked about like, what you do and possibly using you to do some of the stuff because I think right now, bro, like if you're a go-getter, this is the right time for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I agree.
you don't have to work for somebody else.
Yeah, you can
I love the company I work for, but why can't I create my own media company
absolutely.
with all the technology that's out there?
for sure. Especially with the amount of resources that we can grow ourselves into, and at some point, we have to be able to leverage it.
Yeah.
Right. Especially
Yeah.
with your brand now, and you've been around for 25 years, bro. Like you have to start something.
And I just want, I mean, I know with radio, like if I change formats, like, I could keep it going, but eventually, like I want to find someone that wants to take my spot. You know what I mean? I don't want an AI Mambo to to continue this
Do
shit.
you think that's possible for radio? People to use that?
Yeah, they're using it already.
They're already using it?
There's companies who like believe in that a lot.
I mean, there's syndicating, which is from a different like area, right?
Yeah, but it sucks because I'm seeing a lot of friends lose jobs and people who think they're they're being creative, and these big companies who are doing it for a buck,
Right.
you know, they're not realizing like, yo, these are families that you're turning your back on,
Yeah.
who are creators, who gave you a whole career only for you to AI someone else's shit.
Get AI.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I really appreciate you for being on the platform. Transitioning to this now, besides or this, or if you want to talk more about it, like what? Tell us a little bit something that you're looking forward to. You know, some projects or anything that you in the next couple of years that you might be looking forward to as far as your goals or anything that you're excited about.
This definitely, and I'm excited to see how radio, social media,
Integrates.
all this what it all turns into in a couple
Yeah.
of years, man. I mean, I to me it trips out. I'm tripping out, I guess, more on how radio's still like regulated, where like you can't play a dirty version of a song,
Right. Right.
but you could go find it on YouTube like nothing, or you could go on live on IG
Yeah.
or post something that
Yeah.
says a bunch of bad words, and I'm just like, all right, something's wrong here. You know what I mean? Like,
There's no there's no what's the word I'm looking filter the way
Yeah,
it would
yeah,
for you guys,
yeah.
right? There's no middleman. That's interesting. I mean, they're trying to. I mean, with AI, they're trying to. That's why, you know, the whole ChatGPT, OpenAI,
yeah,
the whole
but a
lawsuit.
lot of it is
It's
all
gonna take
about the
some
money,
time.
bro.
Yeah, it's gonna take
Yeah,
some time
yeah.
even for it to be regulated, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's interesting. Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to, you know, as well as what I'm always curious with what technology can take up to, you know, especially with what I do for my career, but also, you know, just seeing you, man. Like I love now hearing from you back then, because I moved here when I was 8 years old, and yeah,
What year was that?
2003, 2004.
Yeah, see, that's early years of,
Yeah.
of the morning show. Actually,
Yeah, that's why
Yeah.
I was listening to the radio. I would, you know, it was just like the background music.
So
or-
you've been a part of the change, like, you know,
Yeah.
where now it's like,
Oh,
you
th-
know,
that's the thing. I was never like, I just kind of integrated with social media.
Yeah.
You know, and then slowly pivoting away from like the radio scene. But now sometimes I tune back in to see what's going on in there. You know.
yeah. And another thing is like you're a go getter, and I could tell
Thank
by
you.
what you got going on, and
you.
you know, there's still people out there that like to clock in and out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I do it still, but I'm also looking at, you know, the other stuff that I'm involved in, like, you know, building this,
You're right.
being involved in other things, because, you know, I don't want to be told what to do once this is done. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, I want to make sure that I have something set up where, you know, hopefully, and I don't want to say I'll stop doing it, because I get like, if I have a day off and I know this is going to happen on Monday, because
Right.
we're recording this before Memorial Day, Monday, I'm going to wish I was on the air. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because I'm so used to
Right.
always going.
I
Yeah.
mean, also because, you know, now you found passion in it. Right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's something that it's like a part of you.
Yeah.
You know? Same thing for me here. Like content creating is a part of me now.
Yeah.
Like if I'm not creating, it's like, damn, like what am I doing?
Yeah, you feel like you're
Oh, for
slacking.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even then, I'm just like, dude, like, am I really living up to what I'm doing for people if I'm not doing it myself?
Yeah. You know what? Sometimes I'll start, I don't know if this happens with you, but I'll start watching something, and then I'll feel like, why am I watching this? Like, I should be like watching something, learning something. And,
I used to.
And I'll end up watching like a podcast or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
versus something entertaining.
I feel like I have a better filter with that now. Because
Yeah.
like back then, I would feel like I need to do those stuff, but now it's like it's more of a discipline or a habit thing. Like
Yeah.
I know when I should be doing it, but when I start to feel like, all right, let me take some time for myself.
Yeah. I think the weekends is when I kind of let wifey like plan shit out.
Okay.
And then, you know, because I know during the week, like I have my plans. Like Thursdays, like I record a podcast. Wednesdays, you know, I set it up for situations like this,
Right,
where
right.
whether it's a dinner meeting or something. But what I'm trying to get into is, now that I started doing afternoons, my window from work is 4 a.m. from when I get up, or 4:20 from when I get up, to, you know, 6 p.m. when I'm off air in the afternoon. So if someone would ask me later and say like, hey, can you do a podcast at 8? I would try to push it more like, nah, let's do it
7
at
6:30.
2 p.m.
Oh,
like
2 p.m.
Like I would want to be done by 6, no matter what, and just go home.
Yeah.
Cause I mean, right now, like I'm just going,
Yeah.
and I know eventually I'm gonna, at my age, I'm gonna end up burning out soon,
How
bro.
old are you, from asking?
I'm about to be 50, bro.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Bro, I can't even.
Yeah.
Okay. You must have something secret, you know?
No,
Maybe it's the
there's
radio.
nothing secret, bro. It's Avon lotion, dog.
Well, I appreciate you for being on the show, Mambo. It's a pleasure to have you here, be on the platform to learn a little about you. So for anybody tuning in, you know, let's plug in some links, you know, for yourself and the radio, but also like your platforms. Where can they find it?
Mambo on the radio is the show one. The 805 Locals is for the brand, and also the show, and then the station is Q95.9 FM, and those are mostly the ones that I use for like the radio stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you again. Thank you.
No, thanks for having me, Mom.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure. So I'm looking forward to what else you're gonna create in the next couple of years with this, but also with your career and profession with the radio.
Yeah, I'm excited for that too, bro. I don't know what it's gonna be, but
Here we go. All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed the episode. We'll be doing more episodes like this where we bring on professionals, experts, leaders to voice what they stand for. So if you haven't already, make sure to follow or subscribe so that you can tune in to the next and latest episodes.